Ladies and gentlemen, back in the day, mid-90s Nintendo 64 era, the video game territory was unexplored. The final frontier, the wild, wild west. But instead of Arthur Morgan, you had this guy. The tech was new, it was hot, it was tip-top, and people were just discovering the possibilities of everything that could be done in the 3D realm. It was a video game renaissance. The ideas were fresh, the games were coming out a mile a minute, and the controllers, they had a little bit of work to do, but people were ironing out all the kinks, I assure you, exploring every possible boundary that they could find in this entirely new medium, and because of that, they came up with some pretty iconic stuff. Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, games that set the bar for their respective genres and wrote the formula for years to come. One of these iconic games was Diddy Kong Racing. What a banger. Full 3D models. Ooh, an open hub world to explore with different environments. Challenges, bosses, different vehicles to experience different races in different ways. So much replayability and innovation for the time. It was astounding. Nobody had ever seen a racing game like this before, and it quickly became known as one of the greats, sitting up there in video game Valhalla among the rest. And people enjoyed it. Over the years, its reputation growing stronger, but as is the nature of anything in this world that is considered one of the greats, people always want more. Fast forward, E3 2001, the hype train was real. Microsoft came to the table with the Xbox and a little game that you might have heard of called Halo. Sony dropped in with the GTA 3s, the Metal Gear Solid 2s, the Devil May Cry's, and Nintendo had the GameCube, the Game Boy Advance, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion, so many hot titles that reportedly one man's face even melted. And among the amazing roster of jaw-dropping bangers soon to be released on a new Nintendo console, a sequel to everybody's favorite N64 racer, Donkey Kong Racing. Not the most innovative title, I will admit, but the game sounded pretty dope from all of the research that I've done into it. There are only little tidbits of info that you can find here and there on the internet alongside this trailer, which was the only piece of actual official live action content to be shown of the game, but everything sounded pretty cool. There were obviously going to be new playable characters, Tiny Kong, Kiddy Kong, Taj the Genie from the first game, and this picture here showing Cranky Kong and Lanky Kong, very cool. From the trailer, you can tell that they seem to be riding classic Donkey Kong animals as opposed to carts and planes and hovercraft like in the first game. You were gonna be riding Rambi the Rhino, Ellie the Elephant, Zingers, all the rest. And yes, I as well had no clue that any of these creatures had actual names until researching this video. But the wide variety of animals was actually gonna be a pretty big aspect of the game. You could find upgrades and food for your animals apparently to make them bigger and better in races. You could jump from animal to animal during the races to deal with different terrain, like if you had a rhino cruising through the open plains, crushing boulders and shit, but then you decided to divert into the forest, you could hop to a zinger to more easily get through the trees, or a swordfish for the water. Whatever, it's your choice. It's a free country, dude. Okay, there were many different options, all of which sounded pretty alright in a linear world, but it was actually infinitely cooler by the fact that this was supposed to be an open world game, as was said by IGN at the time. The races take place amidst a stampede of ostriches, schools of angry piranhas, or swarms of buzzing wasps. Rare's end goal is to create a seamless, real-time 3D world where the boundaries of tracks are blurred. If Rare pulls it off, players will have to strategically choose animals and routes for each race. Imagine a racetrack that branches in many different directions across a 3D world. Honestly, sounds pretty ambitious for the GameCube if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I lived through that time period. I am old, and that seems like some Zelda tier shit, my guy, but Rare were killing it back in the day, so it's entirely possible that they could have done it if anybody could have. And aside from this, the release came with all the usual boasts from games coming out on newer consoles, you know, better graphics, realistic lighting, dope new sound design, depression, swelling of the face, bleeding from the eyes, nose, and mouth, and general tiredness. Ask your doctor if Donkey Kong Racing is right for you. But needless to say, people were pretty hyped to be getting another dose of their favorite racer, the long-awaited childhood golden boy of racing games, finally coming home with a next-gen sequel. But the end of this tale is not such a happy one. As was said long ago by the Buddha when asked about the nature of reality, sometimes shit sucks, bro. You see, video game development was becoming more and more expensive. Rare, seeking to mitigate the trials and tribulations of that particular fact, approached Nintendo for a buyout to help cover the cost in continuing to develop games, and they were turned down. The company that literally made the N64 what it was turned away by Nintendo in the end, and like a cheap hooker crawling out of a dark alley after a bad breakup, Bill Gates and Microsoft were there to pick up the pieces. Now, the idea for this racer was still alive in the hearts and the minds of Rare, but robbed of any chance to actually utilize the Donkey Kong cast, it would soon become Saberman Stampede, a game about a character that literally nobody knows or cares about. What a fantastic idea. It looked interesting enough to say the least, and apparently incorporated a number of the aspects that were supposed to be in Donkey Kong Racing. But after numerous delays and reworks and teams being shuffled around, it too eventually died. And with it, any remembrance of the legacy of what could have been. For a game as iconic and uniquely genre-defining as Diddy Kong Racing, a sequel would have been an amazing thing, a life-changing thing, something that many political scientists believe could have even stopped 9/11 from taking place, but alas, it just couldn't be. And if a sequel to Diddy Kong Racing never truly does come to pass, at least we have this, the memories of what could have been Donkey Kong Racing. And also the knowledge that Nintendo is indirectly responsible for 9/11. But that is the video, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on the next one. I love you so very much. Bye-bye.